Oh, just so everyone doesn't think I have some sort of manifesto or political agenda, this is all simply based off behavioralism, constructs that are common and constructs that are commonly and diversely remnant upon our cultural heritage and variables of interest. So, again, I don't see the benefit in a communist based global government, even though it would seemingly control wars in the future. All security variables will be principal to actually what we did invent through the war on terror, bizarrely enough, in rationalizing why certain diplomacies of individual microcosms emerging into independence will exist and should not be rectified through violence or non peaceful protests, all the way from the occupiers to anarchist occupier protesters to um, uh, the significantly badass militias in the Middle East and to some degree Africa, based on your delinquents of gun trades after getting them all into debt to get them out of the communist leverage. Anyways, the reason I think the global government of democracy needs to be capitalistically interested in itself is ultimately the progressive technological advancements in trade for variables into which progress product creation need to be fair, rationalized, feasible. So, from the outer sphere of the most macro democratic governance, you need to have a construct of human rights ultimately and how to manage a trade context into which we don't see titting and tatting between America and China. Then you go into the national based interests, pre-designated by a circumstance into how large our planet is and modern feasibilities of governments having at this point materialized in a manner that is necessitative to sort of prevail in defending ultimately. Um, again, the only new creation of borders should be the microcosms of independence, um, like say Catalina and or inventive things as to which I was talking about inside of California, maybe just for economic co-ops to uh, get something out of our product creation without competitive espionage on blueprints, uh, depatentizing certain motives we have where the patent rights actually make sense to progress variables of competitive benefit and positive encouragement to the guys that actually want to take it that far, rationally and beneficially. Hopefully, that doesn't keep manifesting itself in the medical world because of how I don't want to use a nasty word, but how bad that's formulated in medicine creations and health practices. Anyways, will I ever write a long worded thing about my opinion and belief as to what's clearly evident? No. So, hey, that's a win win for your obsession to control me. And my obsession not to get in the middle of all your guys' bullshit and let you figure it out for yourself. Fair enough? Great. And again, from a middle uh, variable of interest, you have to vindicate and validate how that's contextual to the ultimate trade agreements amongst the continent, so that continents don't place us into a keep your enemies close and your friend, or keep your friends close but your enemies closer context, which is a rational synergy amongst continents is critical. Then, in a national proportion of interests, you have to think democratically from a social disposition, uh, which vindicates and validates the necessity of diversity of what a need is, what a culture is, what a ancestry is protecting, um, and not compete in terms of what's good fashion, I mean, these are choices that individuals come about when going on the internet and saying, hey, I really like the hippies from Japan. I'm going to go multicolored like that. You know, if you want to be a Japanese hippie or an old fashioned hippie with your tie dyes, go ahead, do your thing. But ideologically compromising individual choice by over rationalizing competition in a circumstance which needs to be governed principally by a overwhelming fair trade to variables of emotional circumstance and individual, human rights from a macrocosm, and then a medium macro microcosm continentally down to the natural interests and national interest of a social democracy, and then prevailing being honest and reasonable and rational when an even smaller microcosm emerges for national boundaries unto which we'll have to uh, be given a seat at the UN, I guess. Who knows? All can be done diplomatically, rationally, and with love. You know, I don't think I'm inventing anything here. I'm pretty sure I'm just seeing what is, what makes sense based upon your inquisition to challenge each other. But, if you go up to Connecticut, the microcosms of governance are extremely expensive, but if you have the money, are extremely effective. Um, so I'm not going to explain deeper than that because there's plenty of people out there to do that. That's not the thing. Not political, economic, or anything. I just like coming up with cheap solutions to answer people's woes and issues, and infusing sharing is caring on your most neighborly like abilities to do so, as well as rationalizing recycle as making good use out of anything, like Mr. Rogers says, before trying to uh, send it to your recycling company even. uh, Fair enough. Okay, goodbye.